Hello and welcome back to another episode of Small Steps to Self-Love. I'm Shelby Lee and I'm sorry for ghosting you last week. I had a rougher start to the year and had the flu or some sort of sickness and just had to miss last week's episode recording, which is the first time I've missed since launching the podcast. So I was a little bit bummed, but I'm already starting my year off with trying extra hard to rest, to forgive myself for times that I just can't make things happen. I had to email a couple clients for the first time and say, hey, I have to miss our deadline and push it back a couple days because I'm not feeling well. And so this is not today's podcast topic episode, but I just want to say that if you are also experiencing lower motivation or having to miss some deadlines so far this year or whatever it may be, take the rest your body needs. It will be okay. Things will get done and we'll all catch up at some point. But I did have to miss last week, so I hope you all had a good last week and your January is going well so far. Really quickly before we get started, I wanted to let you know that the doors to the Poetry Club are closing January 15th, a few days after this episode comes out, and won't reopen until the end of March. The Poetry Club is my online poetry community if you are interested in writing, publishing, learning how to sell a poetry book in 2023. This is the community for you. We are doing a workshop all about writing a poetry book on January 15th when the doors close, and it's a membership, $19 a month. There's so many resources for you. As soon as you join, you'll get instant access to 12 workshops from best-selling and award-winning poets, plus a library of resources and prompts to help you publish and sell your book. So if you want to take your poetry career a little bit more seriously this year, I'd love for you to join us. We're nearing the 100 member mark, and it would be a joy to have you in the club. So head to jointhepoetryclub.com to register before January 15th is over. In today's episode, I wanted to talk about something that's a little bit controversial maybe, and it's this question of whether or not someone else can love you if you don't love yourself first. And I have some thoughts on this, so I wanted to talk about it because I used to have the opposite opinion on this before I really sat down and thought about it. So I think that it gets thrown around a lot that you have to love yourself first before someone else can love you. And I used to just say, yeah, that makes sense. Like, you have to learn to love yourself first before anyone else could show you love as well. But I really don't agree with that anymore, and I want to talk about why. And I also want you to know that if you do struggle with self-esteem, if you do struggle with self-love, that does not make you unlovable by any means. That does not make you unworthy of love. And that is why I believe so strongly that this isn't true, that this controversial type of question just isn't true. Everyone is lovable. Everyone is worthy of love, whether or not you don't like yourself, whether or not you struggle with low self-esteem. That is not something that we want to hear when we're already struggling with low self-esteem, that, well, no one's going to love you anyway. You're going to have to learn to love yourself first before someone else can love you. It's just not true. And I wonder why we question this when it comes to a romantic partner, because we wouldn't say, oh, your parents don't love you unless you love yourself, right? Like, no, of course they do. Same with friends. We don't really question, like, can you have a friendship if you don't love yourself? It's for some reason only romantic partnerships. And while I of course want everyone to love themselves and never doubt yourself and think you're an amazing, incredible person, that's just not realistic. And so telling people that they can't be loved by a romantic partner, I just don't want to spread that message. I think that the power of a good romantic partner can really help someone love themselves. I think that my partner has shown me ways that I am lovable, has shown me things to love about myself that I didn't see before. So I think actually a healthy relationship can help you love yourself. Should you be dependent on that person to give you compliments and to make you love yourself? No, it is internal work. It is personal work that you have to do and focus on, but I think that it can help. And I think a healthy relationship with anyone is about the give and take and helping each other see things in each other and grow as people. That's what it's all about. So to say that you already have to have all of this personal growth and development done, and you already have to be super loving and accepting of yourself before you can ever accept love from someone else, is just not true. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. If you're watching on YouTube, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments, because I know people feel very strongly that you have to love yourself first. And if that's you, I'd love to hear your perspective as well. And if you feel differently about something that I didn't mention, I'd love to hear that as well. I did explore this a little bit in my new book, Girl Made of Glass. In case you are new here, I'm a writer. I have a few books, and my newest one is called Girl Made of Glass. I'm holding it up if you're watching on YouTube because the cover is just stunning. And there's a couple poems on this topic, probably more than a couple. There's definitely a lot of self-love exploration in this book. But there's one piece I wanted to share with you today on page 96 of the book, and it goes like this. When you first left, I thought, maybe if I had just learned to love myself, he would have stayed. But I think if you really loved me, you would have stayed to watch me learn. And this one is just about the blame that we can put on ourselves if a relationship ends, the why, the questioning what you could have done differently. And in this case, it was questioning if I had been more secure in myself, if I had known myself better, would this have changed the outcome? But once I explored this, I realized that no, I'm not to blame, or this specific reason isn't to blame. I think the right person will stick around and watch me grow and help me grow and show me all the ways that I'm lovable. And I hope the same for you as well. If you're listening and you struggle with insecurity, you struggle with loving yourself, know that you are lovable and know that the right person will help you see that in yourself. This book has little doodles as well. So the following page, the poem ends with, I think if you really loved me, you would have stayed to watch me learn. And the following page says, and here I am learning, with a little doodle. And I just wanted to emphasize that the learning is always constant. The self-love is a constant journey. It's always something that's in progress and never something with an end date. And so I think that's just one more reason why it's so important to know that you don't have to fully love yourself and embrace yourself and accept yourself before you can receive love, because it's always a work in progress. So if we're always working on this and there's going to be bad days and good days and bad days again, we can't just keep waiting and putting off the potential to find the right person for us because we haven't yet mastered what self-love looks like. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. And I hope that if you are listening, you know that you are so worthy of love from yourself and from other people as well. With this year starting off a little bit differently than I thought, I've been doing some reflecting on everything that I do, and I love this podcast dearly, and I have decided to take a little bit of a season break, so we're going to wrap up season 1 here. This is something that a lot of podcasts do, while others continue to put out content every single week. So I've decided that Season 1 is ending here, and I have some amazing guests lined up for Season 2 already. I'm going to be talking with them over the next month, recording some episodes for all of you, and putting those out very soon. So you can expect in February or March that the podcast will be back. And I hope that you enjoy Season 2. Our small step for this week is going to be reflecting on past relationships and how you felt about yourself in those relationships. And that might be a little bit difficult. It might bring up a little bit of difficult emotions for you. So treat yourself with care, go gentle with yourself. But I think it's really important to think about those relationships, whether they're romantic relationships or friendships. Think about how you felt about yourself in those relationships and how those other people helped you feel about yourself or didn't help you feel about yourself. Because, unfortunately, we can have some relationships that don't bring out the best in us or don't make us feel good about ourselves. So I would love for you to reflect on those relationships. Notice the relationships where you did feel good about yourself. I'm hoping that it's a current relationship for you, or that right now, if you're single, if you're not dating, that you are taking some time to focus on yourself and your own personal growth and self-love. But I think it's something that's really important to reflect on, so I hope you'll take some time to do that this week. That is a wrap on Season 1 of Small Steps to Self-Love. Thank you so much for listening, for being here in the past 6 months-ish that I've been doing this podcast. It has been such a joy to be with you every single week, talking about small steps to our self-love journey. If you have a moment to leave a quick review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you listen, that would mean the world to me. It really helps me get this podcast seen by more people who need the self-love message. I'll be back with Season 2. You can follow along on Instagram, where I'll be sure to update you on when the podcast is coming back. And I can't wait for everything that's in store for Season 2. Have a wonderful week and a wonderful month filled with self-love and compassion and kindness. And I'll talk to you next time.